Hi, today we're looking at an Edexcel IGCSE and it's from 2024, June 2024, that was May, and I'm going to do the first 4 questions. So these are the first 4 terms of an arithmetic sequence, and that's 3 each time, so we're going up 3. So we stick 3 in front of the n, and then in order to do this really quickly, you go back the 3 you came. So it's 3n minus 2. Sorry, 3n minus 2. You could also compare 3, 6, 9 with that, and that will take you to going back to in order to get to that one. Right, the nth term of an arithmetic sequence is 5n plus 17. Find the 12th term of the sequence. So each time you do this, essentially what it is 5n plus 17. If you put a 1 in, you'd find the first term. So that would be 5 times n is 5 plus 17 is 22. So all we have to do is pop in a 12. Now you can use a calculator with this with IGCSE, but 5 times 12 we know is 6 times 10, which is 60 even, plus 17 equals 77. And that's how you do that. Right, 450 students were asked how they travelled to school on Monday. No other day. Each student walked or travelled by bus or car or bicycle. So everyone said what they did. So essentially this has to add up to 1. So equals 1 and 0.2 plus x plus 2x plus 0.2x equals 1. Therefore, 0.4x plus 3x, you'd normally put that the other way around, equals 1. So 3x equals 1 minus 0.4x. We'll take it off both sides. 3x equals, 0.54. X equals 0.54 over 3, which is x equals 0.18. So that means we can now go back to this little system and put in 0.18 and 0.36, which is 2 times that. And travelling by car would be, let's use another colour. Yeah, that's fine. 0.36 times 450, and that would be about 45, 90, 135. I think it's going to be about 150. So 0.36 times 450 equals 162. And that's your answer. So I would put that down here because I put that all over the place. I'm just going to go back and put that there, so 162. Okay, it's a little disappearing job, but that's not a huge problem. Find the highest common factor of 72 and 108. Right, I'm going to do this in the easiest way possible. So we're going to do little trees for this. So I just divide by 2 as long as I can. I can divide by 2. So 18. I can divide by 2. That's 9. I can divide by, that divides into 3 and 3. And then you're meant to circle them, although I have no idea why, since it's quite obvious that they're your prime factors. And I'll do the same thing with this. So that's 54, 27. Now that's not divisible by 2, but is divisible by 3 and 9, and that's 3 and 3. Zoom, 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 zoom. So that's 2 to the 2 times 3 to 3. Then you make a little sort of Venn diagram, although it's not really a Venn diagram. And you stick, for 72, you stick in, so that's 2 to the power 3, so we'll stick 2 to the power 2 in there, and we get rid of that, but we have 1 2 left over in 72, and we'll stick in 3 to the power 2 in there, and then we'll have 1 3 left in there. So the highest common factors in that bit, so HCF would be 9 times 4, which is 36, which makes sense because 36 is twice times that and goes 3 times into 108. And then if you wanted to find the LCM, it's the union of the two, and that would be, so that would be that times 3 times 2. Right. Ava records a number of kilometres she drives every month. In April, Ava drove 943 kilometres. This is 15% more than the number of kilometres she drove in March. Work out the number of kilometres Ava drove in March. So this is backwards percentage. So in April, she drove 943. So let's do that. And we know that that's 15% more than the number of kilometres she drove in March. So let's call the number of kilometres she drove in March 100%. Let's add 15% onto that. And that gives us 115. Now let's divide by 100, and that gives us our multiplier. So we know that 1.15x equals that. And then let's just divide by both sides. So x equals 943, not beautifully done, divided by 1.15. And that is 943 divided by 1.15 equals 820 kilometres. We know it has to be less. And by the way, if this number here is more than 1, you get a smaller number. If it's less than 1, you get a bigger number. I'm going to do a 5 as well. Right. In this diagram, ABCDE is a regular pentagon. Okay, and then AEF is 96. Work out what FED is. So always with this, mark up what it is you need to know. Maybe put an X there. Now, let's not think about that a minute. Let's think about what a regular pentagon is. So a regular pentagon has got 5 sides. And in order to find out what each one of these is, you do 5 minus 2, which is 3, times 180, and then you divide it by 5. So this is the formula. It's n minus 2, 180 over n. And you sort of just have to know that. But for this, it's quite easy because you just go square, which is 360, add 180, and that's 540. So it's 540 divided by 5, which equals 108. So now you know that's 108. And there's 360 degrees around a point. So you say 96 plus 108 equals 96 plus 108 equals 204. And now we take 360, we take away 204, and that gives us 154? No, 156, I apologise. 156, and 156 is what E is. So that's a nice, useful little piece of work, and we're going to do I have time to do 6? I reckon I do. So, expand and simplify. So it's m plus 5, m minus 8, so that's m times m is m squared, plus 5m, minus 8m, m minus 40, and then we clean it up by saying m squared plus 5m minus 8m minus 40, and just the middle bit here is the problem, so it's m squared minus 3m minus 40, that goes in there. And this one is 3n minus 4 equals 5n plus 6 over 3. And as I say to my students regularly, what do I not like? Well, just in algebraic fractions in general. And they either say racism, which is true, or they say you don't really like denominators, so we'll times out by 3 on both sides. And so we go 3 times 3n minus 4 equals 5n plus 6. Now we've got rid of the thing on the bottom. We'll expand the brackets to make it 9n minus 12 equals 5n plus 6. We'll take 5n away from both sides. Always take the x or the n away from the one that's bigger, because it just makes it easier. So that's 4n minus 12 equals 6. We'll add 12 onto both sides, so 4n equals 18. and we'll divide we'll divide 4n by 4, so we'll divide both sides by 4, and that equals n equals 4.5. And that is where I'm going to stop for the moment. Ooh, get 5 marks for that.